What's up,
You're so...
people of League of Legends community? I'm the Nightwing. This is JTH. Today, we're going to take a trip to the LPL. He's been wanting to talk about the LPL for a long time. I've got more interested in watching them throughout the years. It's still not interesting to me. The casters are really terrible. That's like the only real.
I didn't dislike the casters, honestly. They had Rusty. They had what's it called? Frostgaren for the most part last year. I didn't dislike them. I guess that's really up to you though.
They just weren't interesting.
That's fair.
They were game knowledgeable. I like the way they talked about the game. Since I'm not really like too concerned with like playoffs for them, because it's how EU used to be with like different groups, and you cross battle at like week 7 or whatever, and you have different groups fighting for playoff seeding, and you get like game match wins because of higher seeding. I think they need to remove that whole game win because of the whole because that's just not fair. I don't think that's a true best of series. If a team already starts out with a win, that means you factor in if that other team wins, you already lost, which I don't think is fair. But we're going to be going over the best LPL teams to win LPL Spring 2019.
What even is this subject?
So, best LPL teams for Spring 2019.
The most
obvious to people is going to be Invictus Gaming, RNG, and EDG, because they're the last teams people saw at Worlds 2018. So, do you have any underrated teams that could possibly be contenders for the split title?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious for anybody.
You're going to choose top, aren't you?
Well, yeah.
If you
for anybody
have
that
to choose top.
Actually, okay, then Suning Gaming. I think they're another one. Suning
Okay.
would also
That's the
be
one with Maple, Sword Art, and stuff like that.
I mean, there's not really any other subjects. I think some of the newer Sino Dragon and all those, they're not terrible. They have singular good people on that team, and I think it's really not. It's kind of impressive. I think that China's that developed to where they could just have, like, their bottom team can have people who could compete in pretty much any region. I like that. I mean, like, they don't have completely inept teams anywhere. I think, obviously, Sino Dragon, a few of the other teams like LGD are going to be towards the bottom.
Sino Dragon, do they have any named players?
So why did you click like that?
Do they have any named players, Sino Dragon?
Sino Dragon, I mean, it was, what was this?
I've heard of none of these guys.
I think their best positions right now are going to be,
I think Gala has played before.
No, Galahad, they've all played. I mean, all of these people have played at one point.
OMG is still the team. Isn't that crazy?
Yes, but I think the bottom teams, Sino Dragon, LGD, they all have singular good players on there.
I don't think LGD is going to be as good as people think. I think some of them think they might bounce back by not having Imp anymore, because maybe Imp was a crush after.
Imp wasn't even playing, though, so you can't really blame him for that. I think another underrated team that's going to be towards the middle of the pack, people aren't even realizing, I think, is going to be JD Gaming. I mean, JD Gaming has Levi. He hasn't played yet. Flawless has.
Zoom was really good last split.
I think that Imp, regardless of how pretty poorly he's played recently, is still an upgrade over Bavois. So I think all around they've made pretty good choices for JD Gaming.
Bibli Gaming is the interesting one.
I think Bibli Gaming, I mean, really, they have Chieftain. I mean, Meteor is just Meteos, just like whatever. I don't know. He has a similar name.
Kuro had a pretty... Besides the Freak of Freak series, he had a really good year for himself.
Besides the Freak of Freak series, which is
Cloud9?
Yeah, he's on that team, so you're gonna have to specify. But I think that Bibli Gaming, they have Kuro. I think that was his best. I'm gonna put that. I think that was his best year so far. Besides that specific series, I think that obviously Fun Plugs has Doingby.
Jin Zhao was actually a pretty good ADC.
Yeah, but for the most part, all of these teams are developing young talent in China. If they're not in the top, 3 or 4 or 5,
because the top 3 or 4, they want to win the title.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be going over the ones we think that'll probably win the title most likely, or the best ones.
Okay, so I think we should go over the most obvious one first.
I want to go over the one people don't expect right now.
You want to go over the
EDG, the OG TSM. They run China. They haven't really been relevant for a while. They made finals spring 2018 and had so many struggles all throughout the year. Klilov is not jungling half the time. You have the new guy in Haru, who's pretty much just Haru, except he's just a little bit worse than Haru from LCK.
So
you have Ray. Ray was good, because you factor in the years EDG couldn't surpass what they were known to do was because Mouse was just so terrible, and Ray's that much better. Like, he was such an upgrade over Mouse. Scout has gotten better. iBoy, I think iBoy's a problem for the team in a certain way. Mako's still pretty good. I think if you want to take a more veteran ADC for help EDG, I think that would be better.
Iboy's the best player on that team by far.
If you could find someone as talented as Iboy as a veteran, like what if EDG got Abel?
What if EDG? I mean, Abel's not even more veteran than Iboy. I mean, to be honest, I think you build a team around Iboy, it's probably your best bet. I think Scout is a great player. Realistically, they have the players. I think they have the players to contend for.
They lack the consistency. I think they're very predictable in draft phase.
I mean, honestly, I'm going to put it out there. I think they need to get rid of the coaches. The coaching staff is by far there's something wrong with it. There's no reason that a team like this should be inconsistent for this long. That they definitely have the talent, they just don't have the play. Like Ray's an absolutely he's a pretty great.
Ray competed with the world's best on his own.
Yeah, he looked great.
He was tearing it up. Like I don't understand how that EDG roster still went 3-1 against Fnatic.
Scout, I think he's a world-class mid laner.
Scout was going toe-to-toe with Caps, who was the best Western mid laner at the event.
Not toe-to-toe. I'm pretty sure he beat him, to be honest. I think that Scout was the better mid laner in that aspect.
Mako was still playing just fine. Their issue is that they don't really have... They have macro, but they lack their early game aggression. They're a very slow-paced team. I think that style is very outdated by what they're trying to play.
I don't know. I feel like they're not purposefully slow-paced. It's just they don't know what to do. They're like they aggressive in lane, but in terms of just their map movement, they're not aggressive.
Like Ray's TPs are really off at points.
Yeah.
They got better during Worlds. Ray's TPs were a crutch for him in the regular split. Scout's thing is that he plays too aggressive. He overextends very, very constantly, which gets punished not in China, but it gets punished at international events. So I think that a underdog for the LPL title in 2019 spring is EDG. I think if they fix drafting and if the meta is aggression, they need to find some way to get aggression because it's not working out for them being slower.
Their big problem by far and away is gonna have to be the shot calling. Like
Mako's a shot caller though.
It doesn't mean it's good.
I mean,
just because they have a shot caller doesn't make it good. Their problem is shot calling. They make mistakes way too often around the map. Rotations are always late. Pretty much all they do is rely on single micro decisions and trying to outplay their opponent. And
which can work in certain scenarios.
It can work in certain scenarios. Like, they're just a worse version, in my opinion, of what Invictus Gaming does. Invictus Gaming smashes lane, but in not just smashes lane, because obviously they smash harder than EDG, but only do they just smash lane, they push their advantages. When EDG essentially gets a lead, they rotate back into their lane, which is good to an extent, but they don't go mid, they don't go do anything.
They're not extending the lead.
They extend the laning phase when they're ahead, and I hate it.
But, like, I also don't like the fact that they're usually always late to plays. Like, top is getting dove, and Haru is still sitting in the bush, knowing the enemy jungler is literally under the tower. They need to be faster in just certain basic game elements, and I think they'll be just fine. But that's EDG. I think they're a clear underdog at this point, which is really odd. A couple of years ago, you would have never said EDG is an underdog, but I think they're going through kind of a rebuilding phase where they're trying to get these players online too. So I think EDG, by everything we said, should be an underdog. Who do you have for your next team?
I mean, let's talk about somebody who's a little less underdog that kind of people know about. I think Suning is pretty well known out there. I mean,
Suning has EasyHoon?
No,
they don't. Oh wait,
that's a coach. As a coach, yes.
Oh, he went to coaching.
From my knowledge, yes. Let me see. Yeah, he's on the coaching staff now. Yeah,
really interesting.
Yeah, he's on the coaching staff. That's essentially
world champion Avicii did coach.
Yeah. So I mean, realistically, Suning Gaming has the roster. They have the roster.
Their problem is their top side. The top side might be the most inconsistent in Hacker, Maple, and what's the other guy? The
Zhao.
Yeah.
Zhao and Hacker are ridiculously talented in terms of just actual ability to play the game, but they're stupid.
But the other top sides are going to be a little bit better than them.
I don't even know about better.
Because they've been together a bit longer, so their aggression is going to be more consistent than them.
Zhao and Hacker have not been together that short of a time. It's more so they're both ridiculously talented in terms of just mechanical abilities, but they're both ridiculously stupid.
But how does that work against a team that has competent players to deal with?
Like, if you put them up against probably their worst matchup, which is Invictus Gaming, which Invictus Gaming beats them in the top side hard. I think Shy smashes Zhao, and
that's so one-sided.
The thing about it is, you put them against somebody who's competent enough to go against them in laning, they just get smashed. I think that this team falls apart. I think the thing about it is, it's not like they're weak. I mean, their bottom half is extremely strong too.
The bottom half is Maples, SMLZ, and Sword Art, which is
SMLZ
arguably
I think
second strongest in the league.
as SMLZ was the second best ADC in the league last year in terms of in China. Sword Art, obviously, I don't really need to explain Sword Art to anybody who knows. Sword Art was one of the best.
It's been world class for years.
The best Taiwanese support pretty much of all time.
He finally got MVP like Afro after all this time too.
I think Maple is he's a world class mid laner. Again, I don't want to go too far on that.
He, like basic world class.
I think he's a world class to where he can compete with anybody. I don't think
that's good enough because last split they did not have that.
Yeah. So pretty much their strongest half is their bottom half, but their top half is still strong in terms of.
I think their top half is weaker in terms of their players don't really know how to fully do something against players that have done it before.
I agree.
Factor in that Ray and Haru are going to be better than Hacker and Xiaolao at 2v2, just based off what's been.
Ray, see, the thing about it is Haru is also somebody I look at and I say this dude doesn't know what he's doing. Haru is another person like that. I think that obviously I still give the edge to EDGs just in terms of I think that Ray is more consistent than Xiaolao. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. Xiao Al, maybe it is. I don't know. It doesn't matter too much. You guys get the gist. You can look at about that. For the most part, I think that Invictus Gaming, EDG, anybody who has a confident enough top laner kind of hold off their mechanical skill will probably beat this team because.
What's their issue? I think they're just going to be another version of Flash Wolves, just more consistent.
I think they're going to be a way better version of Flash Wolves.
The fact that Flash Wolves' problem was that they couldn't play past like 20 minutes and couldn't close out games.
Yeah. This team has a way better ADC than Flash Wolves did, and I think a better top and jungle than Flash Wolves did. I mean, if you don't count Karsa.
Yeah.
Karsa.
Or you don't count what's his name?
Moogly?
Yeah.
I think Hacker is not as good as Moogly, but he has the potential to be.
Maple will definitely hold his own.
Yeah.
You have. See, the bot lane, I want to know how that's going to go, because they can talk to each other, but
they can.
Their bot lane, SMLZ, can be very lane-heavy focused. Sword Art's very focused on roaming.
I think he's going to kind of rotate into...
The same thing happened with Ole and NA, remember?
Well, it doesn't matter.
If you have a clashing playstyle, that can come up as
I don't think roaming's a playstyle, more of as an ability, because he has the ability to roam.
But how's that going to clash with someone who wants to be in lane? And
you don't have to roam. You can understand the concept of I don't need to roam. He's not only good at roaming, it's just something he's able to do if the situation calls for it. You roam when your ADC retreats.
Yeah.
If you're not kind of talking to each other, honestly, let's just talk about somebody who is roamed when their ADC wasn't prepared. Like what's his name?
Hillsing does it.
No, I was going to talk about a specific scenario where it happened, which was Vulcan and Piglet, weirdly enough. Vulcan actually roamed up topside when Piglet was playing Ezreal.
Oh,
and he got
Unsealed Spellbook.
I don't know if I think he just ulted up there that time, but
if he ulted us,
but he went up there. His Piglet essentially was left by himself, and the ADC was collapsed on by it was against Team Liquid. It was what's his name? Ole flashed on him with Rakan, and then he got killed. So essentially, what you want to do is, I think that Sword Art is knowledgeable enough to not roam when his ADC is kind of a need for him.
Plus,
so I'm
I think SMLZ is fine enough for it to have him roam.
SMLZ is amazing, dude.
We saw him hold lane on his own without getting dove.
One of the most underrated ADCs in the world, and I think I don't know if he's going to get known because...
I don't know if he'll be going to the playoffs. Well, these are teams that will probably be in playoffs, but underdogs to not win the title. So what if like EDG and Suning face each other?
I think that obviously Suning, if it's not...
See, the thing is kind of more favorable to EDG.
No, it's more favorable to Suning.
In terms of macro play, it favors EDG more. Like, EDG would know what to do in, like, late game scenarios.
I don't know. Suning is probably the better shot calling team. EDG's really biggest weakness is lack of shot calling.
But they have mid game, too.
Well, the thing about it is, EDG wins. The thing about it, what I'll give EDG is their ability to pop off. It's not consistent. When they do pop off, I think they can pretty much beat anybody on a good,
I think right now, maybe Suning wins, but I would say it would be a very close series.
I don't think so. I think
you think 3-1?
EDG is not consistent enough. If EDG is playing well, they win. If they're playing just average, the thing about it is EDG just only plays extremely well or extremely average. I get that's not really too much of a grasp, but much of a stretch.
They're like Cloud9 in spring 2018. They didn't really know what to do once they got ahead. They kind of just sat there.
Well, I mean, EDG does close out games if they get far enough ahead.
But they're closing out games at like 35 minutes in, and the game was over like at 15 minutes.
But Edward Gaming, honestly, again, they're shot calling, but they're just inconsistent. On their good days, they can compete with anybody. On their bad days, Suning, which is a lot of the days, Suning just smashes them.
So who do you have next after? Oh, it's me. My team is. I was gonna choose JD, but I'm an RNG fan. It's looking really interesting this year. You got.
I think their biggest actual thing that most people don't know is Dandy is actually going to be the coach of this team.
And you factor in teams in spring that stay together from the previous year always do better in spring.
They're not the same team.
Summer. Yeah.
So the thing about it is they actually replaced both of their top laners, both their main and backup, with Amazing J.
Amazing J technically played with people on this roster before, right?
But I don't think it's an upgrade.
I think in certain aspects, I think Amazing J is an upgrade.
I don't really think so.
I think he's much better than Let Me by like it's by not a lot, but he's better in certain aspects.
He's not as consistent as Let Me. I think he's had a lot of people are kind of rating him high because based purely off the fact of what he did
a couple times.
Yeah, he had a moment. He had a few like game. For the most part, I think throughout his career, he's been pretty underwhelming. I think he's a good top laner. I don't think he's
like this is good enough.
Good enough. I think it's pretty much the same team you had last year though. You
have Karsa, MLXG. That's what I thought. I think this year they didn't do what I thought. I think that this year they're gonna settle on one jungler.
That would be idiotic. They have a good thing going for them where they can switch out a jungler. I think this is kind of what.
Are they okay with that? This thing we don't know if they're okay with that because they can say that they're okay with it, but in their minds they'd be like, okay, I really want to start.
It's very possible. Yeah. But again, he's still on the team, both of them. So we can't say anything besides.
I think Xiaohu is consistently on a downward trend.
I think he's been worse each year, but I still think he's in the top half of the mid laners.
Uzi,
I think he's been
probably not playing like half the split anyway. So let's not rate him. Is Abel still? Wait, they don't have Abel anymore. They have Wink, right?
I don't. Let me see that. I think Abel's still on the team. Oh, Wink. You're right. Wink is.
Oh yeah, because remember I did the news video about him. They have Wink. I don't know how Wink is gonna pair up with stuff like that.
I don't know enough about Wink, so I won't even put in.
If you just count the roster like this going to playoffs, I see them easily making the finals. RNG's best strength is in best of fives, where they come in with the 2v2 jungle map pressure. They know what they're gonna do on. They usually like to choose. What side of the map RNG like to play on? They like to play on red side, right?
They like to play on the red side because of the fact they want a last pick for Uzi.
I think they're better.
Or last pick for top. I think those are
they're better in best of fives. They're much better than a lot of teams at game plan bringing in. You bringing in Dandy and Green Tea. Both players have been to Worlds. Ming is arguably now almost probably top 4 support in LPL after how good he played last year.
Let me think. There's a few. I don't know. Top 4. I think
he's been on an actual upward trajectory all this year. He's been playing really good.
I'm trying to think. Let me think. I'm gonna look at all.
I don't think he's better than Mako.
It's very close between those two. I think Balon, from what I've seen recently, is getting close.
Swordart, I still think can beat them.
Swordart is up there, obviously. I think that Ben's
only good at roaming supports.
I don't agree with that. I think Ben is an all around good support.
But that's pretty much that's kind of my thing with RNG. I think that Amazing J. He's gonna be the top laner that overextends too much and gets punished for it. Yeah. I don't think he's gonna ever. Because that was his problem on Billy Gaming. He never stopped playing aggressive. If I was RNG, I would have gotten Zoom. But that's just my own personal opinion. I think Karsa is interesting because Karsa wasn't. Because a lot of people predicted that when they got Karsa, they were gonna be just super dominant in the LPL and they were just gonna just beat everybody. But Karsa is really, really odd. He was super inconsistent in the regular split. So, do you think Karsa's gonna have a better time faring this year, or you just think he's just being inconsistent?
I think that Karsa again is gonna play as he has always. I think he's gonna be a good jungler. I think he's world class, obviously, but I think on good days, I really would prefer MLXG in those more clutch situations. I don't know why they consistently go to Karsa for that.
Karsa's better at just consistent early game aggression for leads.
I think MLXG is probably the better early game aggressive. He's mechanically better too, regardless of what people say. Mm-hmm. I think that a lot of people kind of rely on what they've seen from Karsa, but I do think MLXG is inconsistent, and that's all I could say. I think he is, for the most part, on his good days, he's better than Karsa. So but again, I don't disagree with this thing because you have two really, in my opinion, really good junglers. I would say you give Karsa the beginning because Karsa's probably the one that's going to perform better without any knowledge. And they give MLXG once Karsa starts like, what's it called? If you're in a best of series again. If once Karsa loses a game, put in MLXG. And you have somebody who I think is absolutely mechanically impressive. And with a knowledge of the game already to kind of get him over that little hump of what to do next, he'll pretty much get you to the next step.
What do you think their best matchup would be if they made it to a playoff scenario with like if they're facing either EDG or Soon Gaming?
Invictus Gaming, in terms of just the top teams, the only ones we're talking about today, is probably their best chance because they're
smart enough at the game to beat IG at what they're trying to do.
I don't think they're smart. They're the thing about it is I think that they can expose the bot lane, which a lot of for the most part, what's his name?
Jackie Love
is good enough to where I would say he's not going to be exposed by anybody, but I think that obviously Uzi's capable of it. That's why I think it's such a good matchup for them.
It's also weird because RNG, people know RNG were the only people to beat Invictus Gaming. They beat them both times in the final. They were the only team to consistently beat them.
I want to put this out there though. I do think it's a good matchup. I do not want to give them credit for that much because the first time they beat them in the finals,
the semifinals.
They've never played in the semis. They played in the finals.
They played in the semis, remember, because EDG made it to the finals against RNG.
Oh, they went on the other side of the...
Yeah.
Let me think.
Because they were all in the same bracket, and some of the reason why they didn't... Because they're on different sides.
Let me see. I'm going to have to see that.
Because EDG faced RNG in the finals.
Let me see this. I need to see this. I remember this.
If I'm right, you owe me a soda.
I'm not buying you no soda.
What? How is you not doing that? Guys, he doesn't believe me. A lulp. He can't type, guys. He put lulp.
Let me see. I need to see this. LPL. Why did it say LOL? Hello?
You said lulp at first.
I just got rid of the wrong letter. Victus.
I'm pretty sure. It was EDG. I know for sure because EDG were in the finals.
Oh, this is not the playoffs, is it?
That is.
Hey, what's going on here? Playoffs. You're right. Okay. You're right.
Right.
He's right.
That's just how it works.
I remember, and I believe Invictus Gaming actually ended up losing the third place match.
Yeah, they didn't show up on the first. They didn't show up. Okay, that series is crazy, but overall,
no, I remember because the thing about it is
they choked in the third place match.
They didn't just choke. Okay, first of all, during the regular season, during the spring season, they didn't actually play Duke at all. They didn't play Duke, and Jackie. I want
to put out there, it was not his fault they lost that series. He played absolutely incredible.
Yeah, but they didn't know how to play with him. They essentially had played the entire season with the Shy, who ended up underperforming. Who ended up getting himself hurt, and Duke, regardless of how good he plays, was not capable of playing with this team.
His style just didn't fit the team at the time. Like he would he played like how he did on SKT, and they did not know how to function around that.
So I'm gonna give it. I think that's the biggest reason as to why they lost in the spring season. Like I don't think they should have lost, but the thing about it is they didn't have their team that time, and then Jackie Love obviously got exploited. And then during the summer split, I really don't think that the Shy was back to form yet. On top of the fact that, again, Jackie Love extremely underperformed
for the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw him flash in as Kaisa against an Ashe, and he got Ashe arrowed.
It wasn't even though I do think Uzi is substantially better and can exploit him, that was just him underperforming. I do think on a good day, Invictus Gaming should have won, and they were the best team from China throughout the entire season.
What do you have for the teams at?
Oh, you're not even on the right thing. You went back so much. What did you do?
You went this far because you didn't believe me?
You clicked on it 20 times, dude.
I did?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you clicked on it 20 times.
So, yeah, I mean, even people have to know, even when Invictus Gaming went 18 and 1, right? Their only losses were guess to who? RNG.
The very first game of the season.
Technically, that doesn't count, but later on.
And then they picked it up right after that, and then the second time it was without again.
Yeah.
Same person without the Shy.
I would say if you want to look at the more concrete thing, it was Summer. Because Summer, they beat them.
They beat them in the summer.
In the summer.
Well, they didn't have the Shy still. And they still didn't know how to play them.
The only legit time I would say was the summer finals.
Summer finals, I will give them that.
I don't know why Jackie Love was farming wolves. I feel 40 minutes in on a Varus.
Again, even though I think that Invictus Gaming slightly did underperform, I still think RNG is a terrible matchup for them because of that bot side matchup. So
that's RNG. Who do you want for your next team?
There's a few. I do want to go over one person real quick because though I know you already know who I'm gonna say.
Is it the same, or you said another person?
I just want to go over one thing because Snake Gaming actually... No, I know he always laughs at me.
Snake is terrible.
No, they picked up 2 new players, actually.
Maestro?
And in their weakest positions of ADC and mid lane. So I think they're absolutely going to be at least capable. On top of the fact that you've heard me talk about Astrofam, I think he's one of the best junglers in the world. Like, he's been one of the best junglers in the world without anybody knowing.
This is the thing.
Their top side is good too.
They have a strong 2v2.
They have a really...
Everywhere else is bad.
Well, the thing about it is, I don't know how...
bad.
Yeah.
Was.
This is why I'm going to say this is just a dark horse, because the people they replaced them with, I don't know anything about them. They replaced their mid lane and their bot lane. We're going to have to see how they perform. But if these 2 people who they replaced are absolutely decent, even just decent, I think they're completely able to make it to the playoffs. I just, like... Again, they have one of the best junglers. I think that Flandre is one of the better, still a top half top.
For a new team and their momentum going into the split, I think their best bet to even get to the playoffs is to get wins early on.
Yeah, of course.
I think this is the team that could easily start out like 6-2, 7-3, and I think they could fall apart later on during the actual split. So I think the best thing for them to do to even get to the playoffs is get wins early on against teams that don't know what they're doing.
The thing about it is, Snake Gaming actually just picked up a new coach. He was the coach that actually recruited both a lot of the new players out of Knight. There was like a bunch of them.
He recruited
he just recruited a bunch of the newer players that are like up and coming talents in China. So I think he's capable. I think he knows what it takes to become a good player. So I really have kind of high hopes for Snake. They have a lot of like really extremely solid players out of Flandre, SOFM, and a few other people, and they replaced their 2 weakest positions. So honestly, we could see a new team coming out of China, but
we could see another what's the team that was really good? We could see a new JD.
Yeah.
Like this.
I just want to put that out there. They might not do anything, but just in case these 2 people end up being good.
So cause people are gonna ask about WE.
I don't care about them.
Here's the issue with WE. 957 was good at what he did, which was being a stable top laner. Then he wasn't good at that. You have Xie, who was a great mid laner, who I thought was still a good mid laner during the year 2018. He just didn't really do anything. Like, he wasn't what he was. Mystic fell off, and then you have Zero, who was as... Oh yeah, Zero's the coach now. It's weird because he was a support.
But what I want to put this out there: their biggest pickup is not even a player. It's the new coach of Wei Xiao.
Ooh,
Wei Xiao is one of the best ADCs of all time.
So
just didn't get to play.
There's a chance that we see them come back to form. I feel highly unlikely.
Yeah, but again, the top 2 teams that we have not actually acknowledged. We're gonna go over the one that you guys probably don't know yet. If you haven't watched the Dementia Cup, which is Top Gaming. Top Gaming are one of the most, in my opinion, probably the most talented in terms of just young people. I think they're the second best team in China as it stands.
That's the problem. Demacia Cup compared to when they play on
but
the 14th?
It's fair, but again, I'm basing it off of the players they have. Knight, I think, is probably going to be the second best mid laner in China, and I honestly think he has the capabilities by the end of the year to be at least close to good rookies level. I think he's extremely talented, not just like an extremely talented mid laner. Loken, obviously, if you've seen ESC ever, if you've seen any of that stuff, I know we went over Top Gaming a few times, to be honest.
I think Loken was good. Ben's fine.
Yeah. Ben is
their top side is a question mark because that's a very new top side. We know the name of the game right now is top side, early game aggression with your aggressive top laner diving top lane. If they're not good at it, that can be a big problem. I can see them consistently messing up dives that are going to be very crucial to winning the game.
I think that 369 was the single best player inside of the Nest. If anybody watched the Nest, it's another one of those Demacia type kind of Chinese tournaments they have. And 369.
Some could say no one taking it seriously.
Yeah. No, come on. It's everybody takes these things seriously. No one's going out there to lose.
That's what people say. Someone say about Rift rivals. Like, no, who travels to another country just to want to lose?
They're all trying to win, but and it's a good indicator unless you can see them picking off meta picks. All of them are trying to win. The thing about it is, I think 369 was the best player in that tournament. I think XX is one of the best aggressive junglers in the league. Was last year at least, and he's really new. I think 369. They suffer from the same thing that Suning Gaming's topside do actually. Both Xiao and Hacker, they're both extremely talented mechanically. I think that 369 is quite a bit better than Xiao though, but that's why I give this kind of the slight edge pretty much over most of the things because they don't really have clear defined weaknesses. All of these are stars.
That's the problem.
All of these.
What if they just? That's the problem. This team would probably be the one that's prone to choking.
I don't know if Top Gaming has a lot of people like 369. I mean, XX did not choke once last year. I think he was the best performing player on this team. I think 369 played really well at Nest. I think he played really well at Demacia Cup. We saw them put in Moyu for a little bit, and that didn't work out at all.
Moyu was not good.
Knight, I don't even need to explain Knight if you've seen China at all.
If Ben can bring them to a certain level of what he did back with WE, I think they'll be fine. Because Ben brought playmaking, warming, deep wards, granting your team vision. That kind of thing's good.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it for them.
Yeah. Okay, I want to acknowledge Loken, who's the ADC.
Ew, gross.
Everybody was begging KT to take him because he's one of the better ADCs from China left.
But why just Ganjo's? He's so good.
I bet. But Loken is extremely talented, even for Korean standards. I think pretty much every single one of these could be an all-star in just their positions. But let's go to the last team. I think pretty much everybody knows who we're going to talk about.
Good old world champion 2018. Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, nice stuff right there. Balong, if you've watched the Demacia Cup, he looked way better than he did. He's coming off of his World's Finals performance.
The problem was that with Balong is that he couldn't play playmaking support as good as everybody else did. Yeah, and then he started playing playmaking support as good as everybody else did.
I think he looks really solid right now off of just recency. What's it called? I think he was the clear defined weakness of this team last year, but it's looking like he's not gonna be anymore.
I thought Ning was based off draft, but that.
I mean, you can't really ban out Ning because then you just leave everything open for the Shy and Rookie.
Because Ning only plays like 2 champions. He'll probably only play a few more. He'll probably upgrade to like 4 this year.
Even if he only plays 3, if you ban out him, you literally leave.
You just lost everywhere on the map.
You lost everywhere. It's not even just one place because Duke and Rookie. I mean, Duke, the Shy and Rookie. I'm gonna put Duke in there too now. All can expose you completely, in an insane level if you don't.
Duke is such a solid top laner that no top laner is probably going to get past him in a 1v1 scenario, just like the Shy.
I think these 2 top laners, are some of the best at their kind of roles.
That's the thing. IG has a weakness, and it would only be in their top side somewhere, like jungle and mid. Because I think that Ning could be beaten by other junglers, but since Rookie is so good, it kind of makes up for the difference.
Even Ning, I would actually when Ning is on a comfort pick, he won't lose to pretty much anybody.
Plus, he's clutch too.
Yeah. I think Jackie Love is the biggest weakness of this team. I think it's the bot lane actually. Balong obviously has been playing extremely well recently, and I think he's one of the better. He looks really good recently. Like the World Finals.
Jackie Love really does well on Kaisa. I'll give him that. But other picks, it's not as
I don't think he has
convincing.
I think his Lucian's extremely good. You don't want to put him on Lucian. Anybody who's seen it in China, not even just at Worlds, he played Lucian completely out of his mind pretty much every time they gave it to him. He can
the main focus for IG is getting Jackie Love on Kaisa or getting him on Varus.
I mean, realistically, Jackie Love doesn't really. That's only because those are meta. She has a lot of champions. It's just what's meta.
Well, it depends because he really isn't overwhelming, but he's not underwhelming either.
I mean, really,
he's very consistent in certain aspects.
No, Jackie Love is. I think the biggest thing about Jackie Love is he has extreme potential. I think he could be one of the best ADCs in the world, but the problem is that he doesn't know what to do. Obviously he chokes in those high pressure situations.
He's a young guy. If anybody watched the KT base race, God, he ulted backwards as Xayah. And again, if he didn't ult backwards, he uses this Feather Storm to kill 3 of them, and then IG wins the game, and then IG 3-0s them. Yeah. But since he's so young, he's going to make those misplays, so that can be a weakness in big case scenarios. Remember, the first game against RNG in the semifinals, he flashes onto the fountain.
And then, obviously, Jackie Love, every single time they played RNG, he choked.
Oh, yeah, he flashed in front of an Ashe. as Kaisa, as Uzi had his Ulta. He's not the weakness of the team, but he can bring out weaknesses because he's a young player.
Yeah, I think he will eventually. If he gets past these levels, I really don't see many teams competing with him. Pretty much just SKT.
Pretty much for IG, you lose like 4/5 of the map, and just in general.
Not IG. I think he's saying not IG. The people playing against IG.
Oh yeah, like if you play against IG, your draft phase has to go like banning out Rookie, or you ban out the Shy.
You can't ban them out either because they're ridiculous. So that's the problem with this team is that they're just too versatile because.
That was the same problem with Kingzone back in spring.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, I honestly think this team's better than that Kingzone.
They might win 16 and Kingzone went 16-2. IG went
this team.
18-1.
Rookie is better than BDD was. The Shy is better than Keen was. I mean, sorry,
yeah.
Khan.
Zinger.
Yeah, I think Ning is kind of what's it called?
Ning was. I don't know. Peanut really came back to his form.
But I mean, I think Gorilla and what's it called?
Prey and Gorilla looked good at MSI though.
Yeah, they could look decent, but I think they.
Prey was easily the third best player behind Caps and Uzi.
I think I'm again going to say I think they've been underperforming for an entire year now. I think that this team is better than the spring split Kingzone. Obviously, I don't think that's really much to say. They just won Worlds. It's not a hot take at this point. But Duke is like if the Shy ever.
They don't even have to play Duke against Khan. They just played Duke. They played against Khan before.
I mean, both of these players are literally able to go up against anybody. Duke, if you want like I don't even know what the Duke brings that the Shy doesn't. But the fact that you have a secondary person who's that good is
Duke
ridiculous.
brings a lot more of a shot calling role.
I don't even.
Shy does. They said Shy is very quiet when he plays.
I could see
Duke,
that, I guess.
Duke brings shot calling, his TP plays. Duke's more of the team player.
I'll give it that. He does play with the team more often.
He's willing to play the Gnar, the Maokais, the Scions. Shy's weaker on tanks, but then we saw him at Worlds go 0-3 on a tank and carry a game. I don't even know how that's even possible.
Yeah, his science ridiculous. Anybody who's able to have
0-3 start after getting dove and carry a game is ridiculous.
But again, essentially they're world class in every position. I think that Jackie
I would say ADC.
I think. What do you mean? Jackie Love's literally better than every Western ADC.
I mean, that's not saying much.
But
really.
Tell me, there's not a single Western ADC that's better than Jackie Love when he's not just throwing.
I think once he gets over his little humps, he can be truly world class. He's world class now because of his title. I think he is a problem for the team in certain ways that other teams don't have that problem.
Yeah,
that's just how it's gonna work for me right now.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to see a team literally be as good as First of all, Jackie Love again.
You don't win in draft against them. You don't win on either side.
You don't win anywhere on the map. I think the only thing I could see is SKT. I'm going to Worlds because I think this is where these teams are going to fight in international stages.
Yeah.
So I think that essentially, this team wins China again, and then where they start struggling.
They finally win China. They've never won China. So you think this time around for this split they're going to win their first?
I think
title?
they are actually not going to hurt the Shy again. So yes,
he's not going to want to make food around playoffs. Yeah.
So I'm going to say that I think Invictus Gaming goes to MSI, and the biggest matchup.
They'll play against Griffin.
I think it's SKT.
If SKT don't go to MSI, what if they play against Griffin?
Then I think they.
I don't know. That's really close. Griffin plays similar, but they just have worse players in the positions. Except for I think Griffin's ADC is better.
I'm gonna actually put it out there. I think that Griffin has better shot calling, so that actually might go in their favor.
Griffin and Sword and Tarzan might be a better duo than Shy and Ning.
I think
Tarzan is a much better jungler than Ning is.
I'll put that. I think he's better, unless again, if Ning's on a comfort pick, I think it's still in Tarzan's favor, but not that much.
So that's the problem. Sword, people don't understand. Sword was good, but Sword played Dr. Mundo.
Yeah.
Sword played Dr. Mundo for almost 8 weeks. So, I don't know.
He played a lot of stuff though.
I know, but most of his shine came on playing Dr. Mundo.
Dr. Mundo was just in the meta. Of course he's going to play him if it's open.
I think Griffin... That's the problem. They're both great at early game aggression.
The problem with this is...
They're too aggressive.
No, if Invictus Gaming...
It's that clown fiesta right there.
If Invictus Gaming doesn't get that lead they need, they're going to lose. They're not going to win late game.
Against Griffin? Oh, no.
Against anybody. Really. Maybe... I won't even say that because if you're not world class, I'm not putting you in the conversation of beating that because... Any world class, non straight up top world class team is still just gonna get beat out late game.
Because you factor in if your team's not versatile, can't win in draft phase. the way to beat them is very unconventional. It's like you play some off meta stuff they don't even know what the heck.
I mean, I think that straight up SKT would beat them. I think that Griffin would beat them. Maybe I think Griffin probably would. There's a few teams like if you either expose the inconsistencies of bot lane or you match them in their main lanes.
You have to expose Ning's champion pool.
So like if Khan comes back onto form, I think SKT obviously matches in mid lane, and then SKT.
Khan is definitely not going to match in mid lane.
No, I said SKT, but I said Khan. If Khan comes back on the form, you already see that SKT matches in mid lane. So Khan is going to match in top lane if he's on form, at least to an extent. So if SKT doesn't lose these lanes, it's over. Like, because Teddy Mata is just gonna decimate Balong and Jackie Love.
Oh yeah, the bot side for SKT is ridiculous.
Well, I think that's
Teddy and Mata versus like Rookie and Jackie Love and Balong. Oh my god, that's very one sided.
Teddy Mata is the best bot lane.
But then you balance that out with Rookie, Shy, and Ning against Khan, Clid, and Faker.
It's still really
the top side is more even compared to the bot side.
Yeah. So I think for the most part, they are pretty much only looking towards international events, unless they underperform.
That's the problem. People have to understand, IG has not won a title yet. So if you really want to make sure that they are the best LPL team, they want to come in really good. They want to get the first round bye. They want to win semifinals. They want to go to the finals, and they want to win their first LPL title. This team has been in the LPL for it's now been 8 years and no titles.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think they care. They just won Worlds.
To be fair, I mean.
They just won Worlds. RNG can't say anything to them.
To me, domestic trophies don't matter unless you show something at Worlds, to me. I mean, Cloud9 and TSM have multiple trophies. It means like nothing unless they show anything, right? If it's gaming, to just have another trophy... Wait, they have Demacia Cup too, don't they?
I mean, yeah.
Does that really count?
It does. I mean, I'm going to say, I do agree with the fact that I think it's... Like, obviously, they don't have something to prove anymore. They proved it.
Yeah. I mean, all the pressure's off of them.
Yeah,
technically,
but to an extent, they need to
win a title. If you won nothing domestically, because Samsung won Worlds and has never won a playoff scenario in LCK.
I think they're still one of the most respected organizations of all time.
I mean, respect doesn't equal wins.
They have 2 Worlds wins. That's wins.
I mean, I forgot. Oh, Genji used to be Samsung. Samsung pretty much almost has as many Worlds as SKT does. Isn't that ridiculous?
I mean, it's only 3. I mean,
they almost got 3. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. And it's okay. But yeah, that's pretty much the top LPL teams. We didn't want to do a power ranking. Well, I couldn't do one because I don't know all those players sufficiently well enough. We want to kind of do the contenders for the LPL title. I'm pretty sure we're going to see an RNG and IG final again.
I really disagree with that. I think it's going to be one of the newer teams versus IG. I think that
and then there's no way that new team wins unless they really, really play. Because factor in Invictus Gaming suffers from one thing only: playing on the day. Because you factor in when they weren't playing on the day, they lost to Fnatic twice that same day.
I actually want to put this out there. I think that what Fnatic did was expose the weakness that it was kind of prevalent inside of what like a lot of people didn't actually know. What they did was kind of they exposed what you need to do. What you need to attack one of the solo laners so they don't get too far ahead. So you're not going to have an insane carry threat if you constantly put pressure from the jungler and a roaming support into the mid lane, which is what they did to beat them. And then what you do is you essentially force them into a group because the Shy's pressure, all of it comes from pushing down the lane. So what they did, they shoved mid, and then the Shy was forced into a situation where he had a group, which kind of mitigates all of what he does as a player. I think
the first time they played around, the second time for those 2 wins, they played Fiora with Shy. Then they switched him out for Duke, and Duke plays Aurelia.
Yeah, but if you remember, the Shy was winning. The Shy straight up.
That wasn't even fair.
Yeah, the Shy counter jungle. He reposted a Urgot ult. That's ridiculous. Like the second part of it. That's ridiculous. But
that Whippo knew he didn't beat the Shy. He was like, I did not win against this guy in lane. I lost so hard.
Yeah. So essentially,
but that's why you give Broxah Lee Sin, because if you give Broxah Lee Sin instead of giving him a tank jungler, he can make things happen in the early game, which puts Fnatic at a decently far ahead enough pace.
I think the only reason this worked out is because they exposed a weakness that Invictus Gaming didn't know they had for it.
Or could you call it a weakness, or IG just didn't play well on that
day?
They
didn't play well on that day, but again, they did expose a weakness.
But that's their problem. At certain points, IG does not perform well on the day. You gotta factor in, yes, they might be first place, they might win LPL Spring, but they have to play on that day.
I don't think it's
like you have to it's just how it goes.
I mean, they've lost 2 games of regular season. It's not inconsistencies.
At Worlds, they lost as Worlds, they lost 4 games.
Yeah,
that's not that bad.
They literally, it's not inconsistencies, more as choking in high pressure situations. I think they do that way too often.
Are they choking or are they just getting outplayed? You could just be getting outplayed.
Okay, you could be, but
like Fnatic actually outplayed them.
I mean,
in terms of a macro sense, not laning. Sports.
They out macroed them.
That's a smart thing.
Yes, did they do it again? No, because
they did it twice on one day.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they were. I mean, Invictus Gaming adapted to it. I do 100% believe that they underperformed that day. I mean, again, I think that's what KT did. I think with a lot of these top tier teams just underperformed. That's why we saw Worlds this anticlimactic. So I think for the most
big words.
Anticlimactic.
You're an astonishing human being.
Good job using another big word. It's at least 3 syllables.
XD. Lol.
Okay.
Sinky's cosplays are amazing.
But for the most part, though I do agree with the fact that I think that they underperformed that day. Again, Fnatic, I'm going to give respect to them where they deserve it. They exposed the weakness. Invictus Gaming didn't know they had.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like, Invictus Gaming's issues, the only person... It's just what the Warriors said a while ago. Our only enemy is ourselves.
Yeah. They essentially... Well, I mean, the thing about it is the Warriors keep winning. They're saying that because the fact that their what's it called, is their ego. Do they care enough about winning at this point when you've won so much?
That could be IG's thing. We saw that with Samsung going into last year. People were said the same things. Like, do they care enough after winning Worlds now? Do they even like that? You could see that, but after seeing the Demacia Cup, I don't think they even look like that. Like, I think like they want to win more now. That's even deadlier.
Balong feels like he needs something to prove. I think Balong's playing better because a lot of people talk down to him as the weakness of the team.
I didn't think it was him.
It was.
I thought it was Ning. Ning was getting physically outplayed by a lot of people.
Are you talking about at Worlds or just in general throughout the Worlds?
It was like in the regular split. It was like Worlds too.
The weakest player of the team was obviously going to be Balong. Balong was the weakest throughout the entire year.
Balong did win the 3rd place Chinese Pro ADC. I mean, that's something for him. Yeah, he won something.
I think he's still one of the weaker.
Again, I don't think he deserved the 3rd place support. I think that really should have went to him.
I think probably not even one of the weakest lane inside of China is support. I think they produce a lot of weak supports. So
I think Ming kind of proved that there are some good ones out there. But that's pretty much it for the best teams for China in LPL Spring 2019.
Mm-hmm.
If it comes to 2019 and IG win again, they're probably gonna be 1st place again.
And if they don't, and it ends up being
RNG,
if it ends up being Snake Gaming, then I'm gonna be very.
I'm gonna buy you a cookie.
I don't want you to.
I'm cute.
Hello.
Alright, see you guys later. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. Anything you want to say before we close out?
Goodbye.